So now that we're logged on to the Raspberry Pi, we can go ahead and install the BBS. So to do that, we'll go to our GitHub page forward, and I'll include a link to this in the video description below. But if we scroll down, we have step-by-step instructions on what commands to put in and everything. So we'll go through this process now. So the first thing we need to do is update the operating system and install a program called Git, and that's how we get the app to the Raspberry Pi. So to update and install Git, it's going to be these sets of commands here, which these are 3 commands here. But we can just, every one of these has a copy button. So we can just copy this and go to the terminal window where we're logged into our Raspberry Pi. We can just paste that in there and hit enter. It'll run all 3 commands. It may ask you if you want to continue. If this pops up, you can just hit Y for yes and then hit enter. Alright, now in my case, I already had Git installed. If this was a fresh install, Git probably wouldn't be there, but those 3 commands will install it. So we're good there. So now the next section is the installation. So this will be another set of 3 commands, is cd and the tilde. That takes you to the home directory. Then this git clone will download the BBS app to the Raspberry Pi. And then this cd tc2 BBS mesh will change directory to that. So let's run these 3 commands. All right, there we go. So that we changed to the home directory, downloaded the tc2 BBS mesh, and then we changed to the tc2 BBS mesh directory, and that's where we're at now. So there's a command called the ls command that'll show you all of the files on here. So that's everything from the GitHub page is now downloaded to the Raspberry Pi. All right, so we've done that. The next step, we need to set up a Python virtual environment. So we'll copy that and paste that in there. This one takes 30 seconds or so to run. Maybe longer depending on your hardware. All right, so once we see this prompt back, it's done. And we now have this virtual environment folder there. Okay, so we've done that now. The next step is to activate the virtual environment. So on Windows, it would be this command. But we are logged into even though I'm on Windows currently, we're actually remoted into a Linux system. So this is the command we're going to want to run. So we'll copy this, paste this in there. Okay, so whenever you see this, we're in the Python virtual environment. Okay, so now that we've activated the Python virtual environment, we can go and install all the Python packages that's required to run the BBS. So that's going to be this command here. So we'll copy that, paste that in there. So the BBS requires a few Python packages to operate, and that's what this command is doing. It's going through and installing everything that it needs. All right, so that's done now. So the next step here, so this comes with an example configuration file. This command here is going to, MV is the move command, but all this is doing here is actually renaming this example underscore config.ini to config.ini. So we'll copy that and paste that in there. Okay, so that's in there now. So now we need to modify the config.ini file. So we can go back there and we'll need to, well, actually, so there's a number of text editors. I like Vim, but for new users, Nano is probably the easiest. So we want to, run nano and config. Now, one trick with Linux, you can start typing in something and just hitting tab and it'll finish typing for you. Now, it did it some of the way. There's multiple things named config, but we want to edit config.ini. So nano config.ini is what we want here. Now, if you're used to using Windows or Mac or whatever, you're probably used to just like clicking on stuff. But since we're on a terminal, we have to use the up and down arrows to navigate around this. So first thing we need to do is modify some of these. So the first thing is interface. We're plugging directly into the Raspberry Pi using a USB port. So we'll use serial. And in our case, there's just going to be one device plugged in, so we don't really need to set a port because it'll automatically find it. If we had multiple devices, we might have to specify a port here. But in our case, we can just leave it as type serial. Then there's the BBS node sync list. And if you remember from the original video, you can have other BBS nodes that you want to sync to, and you can have multiple. You just separate them by commas like you can see here. Just for this example, let's say you do have a BBS node you want to sync with. We need to uncomment these two lines here. So anytime you see a pound sign, or hashtag as the kids call it nowadays, anytime you see that, that's a commented line. So basically, any line that's a comment, the program's going to ignore that line. So we don't want it to ignore the sync line anymore if we want to sync, so we will remove that. And we need to remove this line here as well. So now you would put in the node ID of the other BBS nodes. So then there's the allowed node IDs, and this allowed node IDs is a list of node IDs that are allowed to post to the urgent board. So if you remember from the BBS video, anyone that posts a urgent bulletin, that'll also send a message to the default group chat notifying everyone that there's a urgent bulletin available. Now, that could get annoying and some people could abuse that. So if you want to avoid that, you can come in here and put in allowed node IDs of people that you want to allow to post urgent bulletins. So again, if we do want to do this, we need to uncomment these lines here. So here you would put in a list of allowed nodes. So next we have the menu items. Some users don't want JS8 call, and when I added that, they wanted the ability to remove that from the menu. So that's what this menu section does. These commented out sections, leave these commented out, leave the pound signs there. This is just for reference to show you the menu options. So for the main menu, let's say we want to keep that as is. We want to leave Q there, we want to leave B there for BBS, U for utilities, and X for exit. But let's say you are someone that you don't want JS8 call. So JS8 call is J, so we'd go here and remove the J from that section there. And we'll leave utilities as is. Now I know we just removed the JS8 call section, but let's say you do want to use JS8 call. Section that we want to uncomment out is going to be start here. And it would be this whole section here. That's what we would uncomment out. So for JS8 call, you would need to figure out what the IP address of your system that is running JS8 call, the port, the DB file that can be left as is, and then you would enter in your JS8 call groups and the other info here. I won't go too in depth since I did a whole video on JS8 call. So that is the gist of editing this config file. So once you've done that, once you're done editing, you can see here this $X. That means Control X to exit. So we'll hit Control X for exit, and it's asking if we want to save, and you hit Y for yes. Then it's asking us the file name we want to write to. We want to leave that as config.ini, and we can just hit enter here. So that is now saved. Let's clear this out. So that is now saved, and we could go ahead and run the BBS if we wanted by doing Python server.py, and that'll run the BBS. Now I don't have JS8 call running at the moment. So let me run in there and edit that section out so we don't have any issues. Okay, so got that out. So now that that is done, anytime you want to run the BBS, you can run the Python space server.py command, and that'll run the BBS. But let's say you don't want to manually have to run it every time. What we can do, let me find that section. So yeah, so this is what you do to run the server, but maybe you don't want to manually have to run that every time, and you want it to automatically run at boot. So to do that, we would create what's called a service file. So if we can go and stop the server. Let me clear the screen. So if we look at the files listed, we have a file named mesh-bbs.service. So we'll use nano again to edit this file. So what we need to do, so these following 3 lines are what we need to edit. So the file is set up for a user named Pi, but in my case, I'm using a username of TC2. So what we need to do is, so user is not Pi, it's TC2 in my case, and whatever username you're using, that's what you'll want to change here. So here's that Pi username again. We need to change this to the username, which in my case is TC2. And here it is again. Change that there. And here it is again. So pretty much anywhere you see Pi, you want to change that to whatever your username is. And that's just in 3 spots. So it's this user section, then it's this working directory path. We just need to change it there. And then this path here, need to change it there. And then there's another path here that we need to change. So those 3 spots are where you need to change that username. So now that we've done that, we can do Control X to exit and hit Y to save and enter. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's go back to the page here. So we've edited the service file. So now we need to configure systemd. So to do that, we'll run this command here. So we'll copy that and we'll paste that. So that is done. Now we need to enable that service. So we'll do that. This will take a second. So that is done. So now we can go ahead and start the service. Okay, so the service should be started now. So we can check the status of the service by running this command here. So we'll go and do that. And if you see that green, that means it's active and running. And it'll give you the date it started and all that good stuff. Now, if you need to stop the service, you can run this command. Okay, so we stop the service. Let's check on the status now, and we can see it's not green. It says it's inactive. And if we need to restart the service, you can run this command. So now anytime the Raspberry Pi boots up, it's automatically going to start the BBS. So yeah, the rest of this is just more information. So that's the complete setup process and setting up the systemd service so it'll automatically run at boot. But that'll do it for this video. I hope you found it informative, and if you did, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already done so. So we got more content related to the BBS and Meshtastic and even other stuff on the way. Thank you all and have a good one.